munted or something. Good evening, Kylie. Good evening, Lisa. Malachi, good evening. And Kelly, greetings, everybody. Greetings and salutations. That's what the aliens say. So I might make like I'm an alien tonight. Not really. Hi all. Kylie Russell, welcome to the Spirit Seekers Society, but I've been looking for you in there, my girl. Don't be seeing you very much. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with in there and how you evolve. Hello to everyone else that has popped in now. So greetings to our new visitors and all of the unseen visitors that are present here with you and with me here. Yeah, you have your own unseen visitors, whether you know it or not. So welcome, everyone. This is the Soul and Beyond presentation because, to me, everything about, oh yes, wink, wink to you too, Kylie. I should be watching, but I can watch you from afar, shall we say. Karen McAllister, Jackie Hall, hello, beautiful girl. Joe Flynn, good to see you here. Dash shame about your scan, Joe. I'm really sorry about that you could pop in here at this very time. I know that there are more people to come in. I also know there are people from the eastern states. So I need to tell everyone over here that we'll be shifting the time because we have avid viewers from the east and it is very late for them. So I do like to try and, accommodate everyone. Hi, Kim Jane, speaking of one of them, and Karen McAllister. So we will be moving the time a little bit back for those of us here in WA. Now, the really important thing is to know that when you register, you can then watch on demand. So if the earlier time doesn't work with your day or doesn't work with your work, then if you've registered, you can at least come back and watch it again. And I thank you all very much for your understanding with that. I know that we can't appease all timelines all around the world. I know that as being a speaker at different international events, it's very hard. I've had to get up at 4 a.m. sometimes. Not my best look. Definitely not my best look. But what can you do? As you know, those of you who join me regularly, we never know who is going to come in and what it is that they might like to talk about, and that is always a surprise for me too. So for everyone who is new, I am a natural channel of divine messengers. It has been my life and my life's work. I'm also what is called a seer. So I'm able to see into you and see into all sorts of things. However, it is more about the messages that are brought through by the divine and by your guides. It is not my request, and this show is not for personal requests. It is not a place for personal messages. If that is something that you require, then I have the service called Guidance by Divine Messengers, and you can find that on the website. And you're more than welcome to book that. There's a stream from my screen, says stream starting soon. No, must just be a tech issue, Joe, because it's streaming right from here very well. I will only glance across to messages now and again because the way this works is that I do have the presence of either ascended masters, visitors, your guides, angels, and they come in for the purpose of being able to bring their messages for you. So to be their conduit, it's very important for me to be able to be aligned with them and not be distracted by your comments. But I will come back to your comments and read them and see where we go from there. Something that I think may be of great help to many people. You know, I have a lot of people who come to see me because they want to connect with a loved one or a pet that is no longer in this world. And the questions that people have is always very interesting in that a lot of people wonder if their loved one is all right. And if they have transitioned fully, then they are more than all right. But can you feel in your heart how that may seem like, oh, well, you know, they're just saying that? Guess what? If you actually feel into your heart, you will know that your loved one is better than all right. But the mind gets in the way. Oh, Mandy, hello. The mind gets in the way and wants to ask earthbound questions and create unease, because that's what the mind is very good at doing. A young lady that I channeled for recently was in such severe distress over the loss of her mum, which was very understandable because she's only young and her mum was relatively young. But she wanted to know if her mum was going to be jealous, if her mum was angry, and if her mum was upset because she would be, the grandchildren would be seeing their other grandmother more. And you know what the wonderful, wonderful response was? The answer to her was that jealousy, anger, envy, pain don't exist in the soul, and they don't exist in the next realms or dimensions. They only exist here. Some of those things get carried to the astral plane, and that's why you can have tremendous disturbance if you want to play out on the astral plane. It is not the place to play, I can assure you. It is a place of nightmares and a place of great unsettledness. So my answer, or the answer, to this young lady was that her mum would actually get to spend more time with those grandchildren than anybody in this world. She couldn't quite grasp that. Everything about coming for the messages, everything about connecting with her mum was very, very foreign to her, not something she's ever delved into before. So it was very overwhelming and in a lot of ways very distressing for her. So for her to get her head around the fact that her mum would actually be able to spend more time with her babies than anyone else was really a task for her. I am happy to say that she was very happy by the time she left and felt a lot happier. The next thing that I want to share with you is there is such a huge amount of so-called channels, so-called mediums, psychics, clairvoyants, whatever label they want to put on themselves. And in the special spiritual community, they talk about going to the 5D world. Well, here's a news flash. most people can't get their head around being in the 3D world, let alone thinking about going to the 5D world. And then there is those who think that they can escape all of the trials and tribulations of the 3D world, which is this one here, by leaping to the 5th dimension. Now, there are some really good movies around that have got brilliant examples in them of what it is like. One of them is The Matrix. So for everyone who's seen The Matrix, recall the scenes where Cutie Keanu Reeves was having to have karate lessons or martial arts lessons with the other fellow. I can't think of his name now. Not important. And he wasn't able to do it initially because he was doing it from his mind, his earth mind. But once he got his head around the fact the earth mind belongs in the illusion of the tapestry of this world, and he was able to see through it, then he was able to conduct the fight totally different. But how many goes did he have to be able to get his head around that? Most 99.999999% of the people that I work with are struggling in this world. Now, if you want to go anywhere and you want to get past St. Paul at the pearly gates, best you don't be trying to shortcut things from this world. It won't work. And you're here in this world for a reason. Your soul chose, requested, was granted incarnation into this world for a reason. So the most important thing to do is to get your head around that. And first and foremost is to understand how to connect with yourself. Because if you don't know how to connect with yourself and the truth of you, how in the world are you going to manage your way through the matrix? When there is fret, fear, worry, overwhelm, panic, holding on to the past, then you are shackled, bound and shackled to the experiences of this world. And there is no way that you can ascend at all. And there's certainly no way that you could move to another level of dimension, which, by the way, is just another level of consciousness. You're not going to go anywhere. So anyone who thinks, well, I think I'll just catch the bus to the 5D world or the 7D world and I'm out of here, it's not going to be like that, and no bus is going to pull up and take you. Getting to know yourself, understanding you, is what your purpose is in this world. Today in the Soul Mastery group, we did a session called The Frame of You. And I must admit, it is one of my favorite modules because it unravels all of the stacks of illusions and the stacks of misconceptions, misperceptions that are carried through our lifetime. And it's fascinating to see how everything unravels. So for those of you here tonight, one of the things that I'm going to suggest and recommend that you do is you start to really get to know yourself. There are a few of you here who are in the Soul Seekers Society, the Triple S show, and you know that there are a plethora of teachings and practices and tools and everything in there for you to do just that. But not everyone is in that society. Why not? Why not? Where are you? So to bring yourself beyond the trappings of this world. It necessitates you coming to know yourself, coming to know who you really are. And the frame of you is not who you are. You have been framed. Roger Rabbit, been framed. And you've been framed from before you even arrived in this world. So as we go through this evening, and I see that we have a bit of a lineup here of spirit that are patiently standing in a line, which is really interesting. Before I address them and anything else, any visitors who wish to come through, what I would like to share with you also is it's funny, how things pop up. It's called synchronicity. And it's called stop and look at this. When you have discernment and you are not distracted by the trappings of this world, you can see the messages and you see why things pop up. So I have been asking some questions around all of the Malay and the massive increase of spiritual teachings and so forth. And I was asking one in particular around channeling. Natural born channelers. There is a difference between natural born and those who have gone off to do weekend courses or whatever. And last night, what popped up was a little mini movie about Shirley MacLaine. Do you remember an actress by the name of Shirley MacLaine? She was given such a hard time for the book that she wrote after having her experiences with channelers and with ETs. For the average person, it would have been enough to drive them away and shut them down. But because she had the experiences and she knew what she experienced, trying to shut her down was never going to happen. And that was because she was to be someone that people would listen to. But by gee, they put her through the hoops. It was almost like the Spanish Inquisition. They might as well have lit a fire under her feet. So what came up in that little mini movie, which is like an excerpt out of her book, was her experience with two profound natural channelers. And they gave footage of one of them in particular, and the other one, it was a little bit preordained, I think. So with the one that it came from some real footage, it was really interesting watching him receive the being that spoke through him and watching what happened with his body and in his preparation. So often you will find a channeler will close their eyes. And it's not always because they choose to, it's because that's what happens with the exchange of energy as we receive another being into our physical self. Now, quite often when I have different beings come in, if they've not used my physical self before, which is essentially what they're doing, it can take them a little while to tweak my voice box so that they can use it. And remembering that they don't have a physical body, so they actually need to learn to drive this physical body. And closing the eyes means that there is no interference from the earthly eyes. Now, for me, I can trance channel eyes open, and I can trance channel eyes closed. That's if that's one of these visitors trying to get in, they're not doing a very good job. So I can go both ways, and I know of a few other real channelers that can do the same thing. But what you'll find, and Lisa, who's here, knows the difference, as do my family. If I have my eyes open, they change. And not everybody is comfortable with that. So the being who is utilizing my physical self will close my eyes. It is really worth understanding, because there are in the woke community and the pseudo-spiritual who have no clue what they're talking about, who will say that if somebody closes their eyes, they must be hiding from something, or they can't be doing it right. Well, unless you do it, you don't actually have room to speak, is all I can say to them. Unless you are a full conduit and a well-experienced conduit, you have no room to make comment. So when you meet someone who channels, trust your instincts first and foremost, and most of all, see if you can be referred or recommended to them from someone you trust. That is the best way to find a real channel, and someone that you can be assured of is going to do the right thing. I'm not sure if I spoke about this recently, but another lady on here and I had a mutual friend who lost her life, as it's thought of, in a accident. No such thing as accidents. But when I had a look, because a lot of people were saying, oh, she's around, she's still here, she's this, she's that. These people had no idea what they're talking about. It is our own want. I spoke about grief the other week, and it is our own want for that person to be still around. And people often assume that because someone has had an accident or died suddenly, that they're still around. And this is a misconception, and it is an untruth. So when there is the time coming for the soul to exit the physical body, if it is going to be in what appears to be traumatic, and don't get me wrong, I've attended fatal car accidents, motorbike accidents, I've attended many, and then I've had my own share of them. I'm not for 1 minute discounting the seriousness of it and the fright, right? What I want you to understand is the soul is actually whisked out of the body before impact, right? Now, I am talking about someone who passes at the scene or passes soon after. I attended an accident not far from my house one day, and there was ambulances all over the place and police. And when they finally got the man out of the car, his heart had stopped and he was standing beside the car. His spirit was standing beside the car, but it was not his time to go. So he was back in his physical self by the time they put him in the ambulance, and I was talking to him. He wasn't going to make it. He wasn't going to make it after he'd been in the hospital, and that was to give his family a chance to see him before he left. So many times the soul is whisked out of the body so that the soul does not experience the trauma, as it is called. Only the physical self. And when there are other times when the physical self has experienced great trauma and the person continues to live, well, that is part of a soul agreement, and only that soul or someone like myself who can communicate with them would be able to explain why it's like that and why it's happened that way. So it is amazing when you understand the complexities of the soul within the physical self. A lot of people think that when someone has taken their own life, that they go to purgatory or they get lost or they're stuck. Well, yes, on many occasions they are. I had a young man, his mum came to me many 30 odd years ago, and she was so distressed. Her son had taken his life, and he actually took his life in Kings Park, a very public place. He was making a statement, and he also wanted to be found. He didn't want for his physical self to be left unfound, unnoticed, but he also did not want for his family to be the ones to find him. Like often happens, somebody takes their life at home, and that's a tremendous trauma on the family who find them. When it is a child who takes their life and they take their life at home, they want their family to find them. They want that last confirmation of love. And they also do not want to be alone, because there is a fear element, but mainly because they want the love to be shown to them. So it is incorrect to believe that all who take their own life get stuck in purgatory or get stuck between what is called between the worlds or wander aimlessly. This is not correct. There are those who choose not to move on. There are those who go and then they come back and they make a pest of themselves, and they're just a nuisance. So it's quite fun sending them on their way. Sorry, am I laughing? No, I didn't mean to be. Laughing from my heart. Those of you who are not familiar with me and my sense of humour, well, I'm asking you to hold on to your hat and just hear me clearly. They always said that theatre scrub nurses and theatre nurses had a dark humour, and we have a weird sense of humour. So these things are really important for the living to be able to come to terms with. And if you come to someone like me because you want to know if your loved one is safe, that is the most common question. Are they happy? Are they all right? Is there anything that they are missing? Is there anything they want us to do? If you find yourself in that predicament, then be sure before you come that you take the time to call out to your loved one and let them know. Mind you, let them know is for you, not for them, because they already know who you're going to see. And here's the other part of it. They may not be able to connect with that channel for multiple reasons. Maybe that channel is not actually a medium. So it does not mean that they are not effective at what they do. It means that for some reason, there can't be this connection between there and here and between your loved one and them. A lot of mediums who want to be mediums actually find it very distressing because they will feel the grief of the seeker who is looking to connect with their loved one, and that will inhibit the channel from being able to connect. So there are different levels of mediumship, and the people who want to go and learn to be a channel, be a medium. Good question, Lisa. Thank you. Good people who want to go and learn that, if they haven't done enough work on themselves, they'll find themselves in a whole lot of bother trying to be a medium. Think Whoopi Goldberg out of Ghost. So the difference between a channel and a medium. A channel is a vessel for higher entities, higher beings, different life forms to be able to step in and speak through them. A medium is exactly as the name suggests, a medium between worlds who can connect with spirit, with souls that have left this world, who can see what's taken place if they are given those images to see. Not always are they able to see. And that is nothing to do with them. It depends on what is being brought to them. You know, a long time ago, reading for a young lady, and I was channeling. So I was just bringing through the messages for her from her guides, from her, the Archangel Gabriel that I was working with. And then all of a sudden, through the ether comes a gloved arm and a tray of hot Italian biscuits. And I could see the steam coming off them and I could smell them. Oh my gosh, they were absolutely beautiful. Would love to have taken one. But that's all. That is all that came through. No face, no name, no voice, just this image. So I told the young woman what I was seeing, and she burst into tears, and she knew immediately that was her nonna. And she knew because that was a representation that sat in her heart of what she loved about her nonna. She loved seeing her nonna take the trays of hot Italian baked biscuits out of the oven and be able to smell them. Now, in her grief state, she could not smell them. So I was trying to explain that they smelt delicious, and for her to let her heart go back to those memories so that she could smell them herself. So you see, the loved ones decide what they are going to bring to a medium. We don't. We don't have any right to decide, determine, make demands. It's not our place. And for me, they often don't come in and say, "Hey, Gwenda, how you going? I'm Jane's mother-in-law. I stayed with her two lifetimes ago, and my name's Nancy." They don't do that. And I don't play the game. I've got the letter T. Would it be a Ted, a Thomas, a Tom? Would it be something? I don't do that rubbish. If they show me a letter, I will say what the letter is I'm seeing, and that's it. If they can't give me any more, or they choose not to give me any more, I'm not going to waste my time and energy with playing that silly game of feeding stuff to the person who is looking for messages. And I'm also going to say that those who work on the level of names work on a low vibration, a low frequency, and I don't. So there is, just like in this world, there are all different tiers of career, tiers of profession, right? It's the same with us. No one medium is the same as the next. Some of us are large. No one medium is the same as the next. And no one channel is the same as the next. So really important points from that. Oh, who's that? really important points from that is for you to have a greater awareness of the third dimensional world, which is this one, the fifth, the seventh, whatever, your place, what it is that you can do for your soul in this lifetime, and what it is like for loved ones who pass from this world. I have met loved ones in the next world who have been cranky, but they've been cranky because of a family dispute around the will. And what it stops them doing is it stops them being able to actually move on and transition fully. So, you know, when you don't adhere to someone's wishes, you can disturb their transition. It also depends on the heart and the goodness of that person. Some might just wipe their hands and go, well, I don't want to know. I'm gone. I'm done. They can fight it out between themselves. Whereas others, like a couple of gentlemen that came through, oh my goodness, they were not impressed, and they had their say about what son wasn't doing what and who wasn't doing what. Let me just take a quick break. See and hear the difference in channels. Oh, thank you, Lisa. Thank you for that. Seems to be the way. They always shut people down. Yes and no, Malachi. The witch hunting's always gone on. Doesn't matter what century, what lifetime. Yes, Malachi, that experience via taking course. So Malachi's asking, I'll put this up for everyone to see in case some other people are wondering the same thing. I actually teach this in the School of Wesh and also the School of Wisdom for those that want to know how to connect with guides, with angels. There are a lot of very important fundamentals, a lot of very important foundations that keep you being able to hold your place in your life when you want to be doing these things. I'm only going to say here that these things are nothing to be taken lightly, and they are to be held in tremendous respect and reverence. As many of you know, you've heard me say before that there are always wanton spirit wandering around, and there are always many entities and ETs who will take an opportunity. So when people start messing with this stuff, they don't know who they're talking to, and they should back off and stay away until you know who you're talking to, where they're from and why they're there. It's not a good idea. When somebody goes to learn Reiki or any of the healing arts, even down to reflexology, there is a very small amount of the courses that talk about being able to feel and receive messages or sensations from the person you're touching. Well, any career where you are touching a person's body, you are now in their energetic fields. You are also, if you're a hairdresser, a masseuse, a kinesiologist, Reiki, hairdresser, chiropractor, physio, you know, all of those modalities where you are touching someone all over, you can inadvertently get something from their energy that does not belong to you. Obviously, it belongs to them, but you can also inadvertently become the new host for something that is taking up space in that person. So whenever you are working in a space where you are touching other people or being in very close proximity to their energetic fields, you must be able to discern your energy to then know if there is someone else tapping into your energy. And I know from looking at some of the curriculums and talking to people that have done different healing modalities that there is only a very minimal amount, and it doesn't actually go into too much about the importance of this. And of course, with chiropractors and physios and so forth, that's all mainstream teaching, so there's nothing in that. So a lot of people that first start in those modalities wonder why when they first begin, they are very exhausted, they can feel very, very tense and agitated and out of whack. They may not sleep well. Yeah, thank you, Kelly. Little education on this. And there should be a lot more, because the minute that you are actually entering somebody else's energy bodies, you're at risk, bottom line. And this isn't about fear. This is about understanding what you're dealing with and how important it is for you to know your own energy. It's not about them. You don't have to fret about the other person. You have to know yourself. And that is what we began with tonight. So many people want to delve into the spiritual practices, the spiritual ways, want to become a medium, want to become a channel, want to know what this is, that is, and they can't even handle their own life. They don't understand their own energy, what hurts, what wounds, what past life stuff is in there, what karmic debt is in there. We're a very complicated being. Would you agree? Yes, absolutely. Kelly, yoga. Well, yoga is a sacred practice, right? And yoga can open up the Kundalini or Kundalini reference points and the Kundalini energy. And oh my gosh, if a yoga instructor stimulates that Kundalini energy and it takes off, they're in a world of trouble. That person is going to be in a world of trouble. And that's another thing. Thanks for that reminder, Kelly. People going on about, I want to get my Kundalini energy rising. I want to have that experience. Oh my, can only be said from someone who's got no clue about the power of the Kundalini energy, of their own self, and the danger that is with it. Yes, Mandy, that is exactly right. And I don't know if she's still here. Jackie, are you still here? Jackie has been with me for a little while now, and she's soaking everything up, and she's in the society. She's going to become a teacher in the School of Wesh, so she's doing the course there and the soul mastering, and she's excelling unbelievably. And what she wrote about in the society about learning more about herself and understanding herself. And that's what's going to make, she was saying about how much it has changed her life. You are here for you. When you become a teacher of something else, that is because that's something that your soul is looking for the experience of and to take the expansiveness of it. You're not here to be a savior for everyone else. You're not here to fret your life away. So it's really important to understand these things. You first, then you can serve others best. And as a light worker, light workers are often prone to being very sensitive and they get themselves caught up in hot water all the time, get themselves really out of whack. They can experience bipolar, schizophrenia, multiple personality disorder. There's nothing wrong with me. There's only, let me see at last count, about 99 of me. I want to hit the century mark, the 100 mark. I think that'll be pretty good. All jokes aside, where was I? Light workers. Light workers can be very prone to disturbances, and that is one of my greatest missions, is to assist light workers to know how to walk their path with their full power intact and be able to be of service without it hindering their life. So being able to walk in this life with balance and enjoyment and with abundance, really important, and to be well. That's a great line, Malachi. I love that. I have enough just trying to keep up with myself. That's right. We should write that on a T-shirt. I saw actually a T-shirt at an event the other night, and the young woman had on it, I tried being normal once. It was the worst 2 minutes of my life. I thought, yeah, I can relate to that. Yeah, that's... wasn't quite understanding of my own experiences. I can understand that, Malachi, and for everyone else, because, you know, I have been a seer since I was a child, and it was no fun. And it was certainly no fun announcing to my school peers when I saw my first ghost here in Perth. What that cost me in being made fun of and ostracized was very hurtful. So I understand what it is like. Something very few people teach, mainly because they're not equipped to teach it, Malachi, and they don't see maybe the importance of it enough to be doing that. Now, I just want to say that the line of visitors that I had here were all people who are in spirit, and it's really interesting for them to have come in and lined up as if they were waiting to take a ticket and sit down, a little bit like a scene out of Beetlejuice, except they all had their heads in the right place. Now that I have shared those things with you all about wondering if your loved ones are okay, are they happy, are they angry, you know, now that I've talked to you about all those things, they have all gone. They have all left. That tells me that there is a big wave in the heavens, a disturbance in the heavens, because so many people down here are fretting about their loved ones or people they've lost. And it does inhibit their transition. It also inhibits their healing in the heavens. So it's very important. As hard as it is when we lose someone, it's very important to hold love as your highest thought of them, because then they can transition fully. They can go and watch their Library of Life movie. I'm going to have VIP front row seats for mine this time around. And they can sit back there. I hope there's a gold lounge. And they can sit back there and watch that in peace. And then when they have finished and they have completed their healing, then they can come back and visit. Or they can take their loved ones who are here up to meet with them on the healing plane or on the dream plane, sorry, not the healing plane, the dream plane. So it's really important that we go through our grief at the same time as holding love as the highest sense that we can have about our loved one. Remember that grief is our own selfishness. It is the pits. It is the hardest emotional turmoil to move through in this life. But when we understand and we can hold that grief in our heart through love, we help ourselves and we help our loved one. And it's really important for them, right? You had a laugh, you said, about the heads, Malachi. Now, waiting patiently, as they do, away from me here, which has been really interesting, that this beautiful being has just stood back and waited. Yeah, that's a nice way to look at it, Joe. But love is a whole other topic. And when we can really understand, now, none of that. When we can really understand what love means to us and what it means to be loved, and this is a full-on exercise that I take people through. It's not something that you can just answer, and I've done workshops on this that has just blown the room apart. When we have that, then the love that I'm saying about holding in our heart for our loved one that has passed, it transmutes the grief. It helps us navigate the grief, and it also helps our loved one be able to transition beyond our grief. The gold seat, damn right, Malachi. Yes, Lisa, they are probably getting a little bit titchy now because they have been waiting for a while. And this being is from the order of Melchizedek. Melchizedek himself is known as the righteousness of God. He was a king pre-Jesus time. There is little written about him, for that is the way it was to be for him. Uriel is always at the right hand of God. Melchizedek stands before Uriel, beyond Uriel. The order of Melchizedek gives you, the human beings down here, the opportunity to be able to find the greater peace through your soul and understand what it is to forgo everything that you have in this world, for that you are attached to and all that you believe to be sacred. But the sacredness has been long gone from here, and those of us in the order of Melchizedek have come further back to the world to be able to assist you to find your way with understanding sacredness of the self. When you have sacredness of the self, then you are standing in alignment with your divinity of God. There is nothing material in this world that is sacred, only your soul, and that is not material. I take my leave. So, the order of Melchizedek, it's unusual to have their presence, and it's certainly unusual to have the presence of Melchizedek himself. The symbol that he placed my hands in was like that. When he left his, taking his presence away, in my mind's eye, I was able to see a most amazing blend of a magenta and a magnificent deep red. And within those colours were images of shapes like hieroglyphs. Mandy. Yo, let's call him in for another wild ride. Oh, did they, Malachi? That's really interesting. Blue, as you can see, they're very, very almost black. Blue would be a very tremendous color for representation of Melchizedek. So in the imagery that I could see when he was moving out of my sphere were some beautiful scrolly signs and symbols. I will hope to have more information on those, but then again, it could just be something that he's left in my energy field for connection with him. So thank you all for your engagement tonight, your comments and your laughs. It's been really lovely. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope that there has been some lovely insights for you, and also that you could feel some of the energy that was coming through from various messengers in regards to things that are beyond this world. And there is so much that is beyond this world. Don't get caught up. Don't get caught up in the distractions and the material things of this world. It's really not worth it. Really not. And if you want some training on that, if you want to understand that, please do come on over and join us in the Spirit Seekers Society. Thank you, Mandy. Thank you, my darling. Love you. And I hope you're still sleeping well. I do have such tremendous humbling honour and privilege to be of service to you and for the things that I can provide in the society and also in the School of Wesh. God bless you all. And it is God for me, as most of you know, but, you can call it tomato sauce if you like. It's up to you. Yeah, I don't do pronouns and gender, Malachi. That's all part of the woke agenda. Dangerous territory. You're very welcome, Kim Jane. Great to see that you stayed. Lisa. It's lovely to have a laugh with you all and just to share with you. One day I hope that we will all sit in circle together in person, and that I can really share the energy with you and and share the wisdom and see what comes through. That is what I'm putting out for. So it is something I'm looking at. Oh, I can't see it happening before the end of this year, but hey, who knows? It goes to 7:45. No, it definitely does not. So it's that's really interesting. Thanks, Malachi. It is for an hour. Yeah, it would be amazing, wouldn't it? Oh, thank you, Joe. Much love to you, love. Much love to you. It's a joy to be here, and it's a thrill to have you join me. No, it is definitely 5:45 to 6:45. But as I said, I'm going to have to shift it a little earlier for our beautiful people on the East Coast. Karen McAllister, thank you. Really appreciate it. Appreciate you too. Cool, Kelly. No Ash tonight, Kelly. No Ash, no Joy. Everybody's absent. I can actually check it out. I'll just be lazy. Food for thought. Yes, I like that, Malachi. All right, everybody. God bless and good night. I'll look forward to that, Kylie Russell, very much. Thanks, Ash. Cheers, everyone.